I'm Bill.
And I'm Corey.
Welcome back. This is our first together.
I was
live.
Yes.
First one since April 4th.
Yes.
2024.
Had an ill child last week. Decided to get a fever on me.
Yeah, they don't pay attention.
I know. They have no
be
concept.
Healthy.
Yeah. I told them stop it.
Stop being sick. No, they're gonna. Yeah.
I actually asked him to do that, and he says, "Daddy, it's not funny."
He knows your humor. Oh yeah, it's good to be back at the studio live and then with everything all set up properly this time. So so we got some. Obviously, we have some questions this
That's
week.
the whole point of the show.
Yeah, this is a fun. We get this kind of question quite often, and we kind of giggle a little bit, but then we realize that people getting pressure regulators, they don't have a decade experience with it.
This is stuff we know. We're in the business.
I don't know, you put stuff in, you get stuff out.
And at the same time, we want to encourage people to ask questions. So even if you have ones that seem basic, it's still good to ask if you don't know. Don't feel bad.
Because we've seen people mess things up. We see people, oh, wait a minute, I want to put this gauge there and that over here.
And then you put the gauge on there, and then you can't attach it to the cylinder anymore.
So anyway, okay, let's get to the question.
So the customer was asking me what the right and left gauges measure. So as I'm looking at it, though, I'm trying not to get confused because my right is your left, and my left is your right. So we'll see if I keep this straight. We'll just point. Okay, so they were like, what is
this one?
Right, this one, the right gauge, he asked me. And I said, well, that tells you your cylinder pressure. And he asked me what the left gauge meant. And I said, well, that's what your delivery pressure is. He goes, oh, okay. So, simple thing like that. And then the other thing that he asked was like, is the gauge the thing that limits the delivery pressure? So he thought, because he said 0 to 100 is the gauge, so he thought I could get it up to 100. I said, well, no, if it's 0 to 100, he couldn't find a part number, unfortunately. I said, most likely it's a 0 to 50 PSIG delivery pressure regulator. And I told, and you can't increase the delivery pressure of a regulator by changing the gauge because it's determined by the spring internal to the regulator. And I want to just add, bring up we have a graphic for this, right?
Oh, yes. Pop up the first graphic. Yes.
Yes, so we have pressure regulators for regular people, which goes through a lot of this stuff, all of this stuff to just basic. It's a great video. Our most popular is Bill likes.
It's our top video.
18,000 views. Let's
19,
get it. 19,000.
19,000 views. Let's get it viral.
Yeah.
Kick it up there. Watch out.
I want it over 100K by this weekend.
Yeah, we can do that. It's only less than 3.5 minutes long. It tells you all.
Less than 3 minutes and 29 seconds.
3 minutes 20. It's a good length for
it's
a little long for a
very
hit song.
Familiar voice narrating it.
Yeah, and it explains the regulators and the porting and some of the holes on there. And how it
lots of
operates.
holes. I don't know what the holes are for.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So you can take the graphic down and show us our beautiful faces. Okay. Next question, and this is fun. This is kind of like one of these Build-A-Bear episodes. So, can you provide cost and delivery quote for a regulator similar to the 3066 SA? She's just pulling out the bodies. However, this would be mounted to a panel with gauges, also panel mounted for ultra high purity nitrogen on a 6,000 psi K bottle. That's a type of cylinder.
Yeah. Come bottles too.
I don't know if it's not really a
tanks.
Bottle. Okay, so there's issues with that. Our typical. We're going to show. We have our. They showed a picture of the panel they had currently in. One of the issues is oh, I got a sticker on this. Is we have panel mounted gauges. You think, oh, I got one on my panel. They must make lots of them. They really don't. The ones on cylinders,
regulators.
On regulators, these kind of bottom mounts.
Bottom mounts. That's the typical way you get most gauges.
Yeah, it's a typical way of getting it. So a panel mount, which would go in a panel.
Yep.
They're not as readily available.
Because they're what?
Because they're panel mounted.
Well, they're rear mounted. I figured rear mounting would be.
Because you can't stick them on a regulator.
Yeah.
That would look kind of. Don't mention it. Someone might order it.
You could do an elbow.
Yeah, you could do it. So these aren't as common, and so it would be a really long lead time to get the panel. So we're kind of.
Why do we need to get it special?
Oh, because we have.
gauge?
This is going to be a long question. It might be everything we got. But for the, because we use these on panels, but we have a limited range. I think we have a...
And typically it's only for a 3,000.
We have like
a
I think a 30, 100, and 200 PSI gauge. We might have a 300. So we don't use these, and these are on our lab gas, GasTrak Pro. Which
and the problem with these regulators is they're high pressure regulators.
And then there's
way higher than those.
Yeah, 200's not working.
Yeah, 200's not
working. These type could go up to, these could go up to...
This mamma jamma.
This mamma jamma. We have one version goes up to 6,000 PSI delivery pressure.
Yeah. Even though that's mostly the highest you'll get out of a cylinder.
Yeah, but...
you can deliver straight, you don't even crank it open.
I know. Sometimes we wonder about that. But it's... maybe people just want to pretend it's doing something. But yes, so then you have fitting issues because most of the fittings we use are
3,000.
It's 3,000, no issue. Once again, so we have, if you get into 6,000 PSI, you got to double check the pressure ratings on that to see if they can go up to 6,000 PSI.
And typically brass fittings wouldn't work at that
point.
Oh,
brass, no. But yeah, stainless steel tubing that has to be probably thicker than what we normally get. We get the 035 wall. I think you have to bump up to an 049 wall. So you just can't create, this tubing will work. Nah, it really won't. So this is a good segue into talking about our GasTrak Pro panels, which are have panel mounted stuff because they're panels.
But, but are not as high as pressure as this one. And I just want to add, if people are wondering if this is crooked, you can tell. It is
crooked.
It's from our carefully curated museum, and it's normally not crooked. Okay, it's just it's a
well,
prop
it's
at
one
this point.
we got it
damaged.
Donated.
Yeah.
From regulator production.
Normally not cockeyed like that.
We can't sell this one. Maybe we'll stick it in the museum. So it's either museum or the garbage bin. So we
keep it
saved
for prop
for a while. Eventually we'll throw it out. So you want to show the next graphic? So this is our typical regulator section for our GasTrak Pro. People like to call it lab. Technicians will call it lab gas.
Because it's used in a lab. It's gas.
And it's gas used in a lab. So these are great for using in a lab if you want to have like a neat, clean package. So you see that blue knob's the pressure regulator knob. You got the gauge there, which will show panel mountable gauge.
And I just want to add, this regulator wouldn't even fit through that hole.
Right, we'd have to make a bigger hole.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd have depth problems on it, but these actually are, the whole setup's deep enough. And then you got down there that little black handle thing on the bottom right. That's a ball valve, so you can turn it on or off. And then this one is a front outlet, so it's a compression fitting. Typically we do 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch swage lock. And this will mount the back part with all the little black circles on it. That's a tube chase. We're going to show that live. That can be mounted to the wall, and you can pop off and pop on these regulator sections. So you want to switch back to the camera. So this is the sheet metal for our GasTrak Pro panels. And so we got a hole for the gauge and a hole for the regulator, and then we have holes for the valves. And we've got these overlays that we'll put over it, and we can have 1 or 2 outlets on this panel, and this will go over and we'll have you can put your gas name on here and on, open, closed for the labels, and then up here we'd put an FPA label for your gas, so it looks really kind of slick.
So you know what you're turning on.
Yeah,
it's important.
Right, yes, and then these get, so this gets a lot of, we didn't have anything made up, and I wasn't going to have Roger make one up for the show because he'd kill me. But these go in tube chase. So this is for 1, obviously, and it kind of snaps in there. Got little nibs on there, so snap in there, and you can pop it closed if you need to do things. You need to do maintenance or something. Then we've got a 3. And a 5 section.
And I was saying, you right here, run your tubes into here, goes into the...
Yeah, so you got inlet, outlet. Typically you do you can do it
above, yeah.
Typically top inlet. This would be the inlet here.
Okay.
And then the outlets would be here. So you can gang these together, put a put a bolt.
Yeah, imagine this face all across
You
this.
could do it, and we'll show pictures on that too. So you can do a whole bunch of them. We've done up to, I think, 14. I think is their biggest one I remember. But yeah, you can gang these together, and you can run like you could bring helium in here, and then run it to a few. You could have a few helium sections.
Yeah.
And you just have one inlet. You could have, I don't know, 3 or 4 helium sections if you want.
And you could add another inlet of, say, hydrogen. And
have that run through.
have that run through,
it's
and have
got-
certain
it's
ones
all
come
kinda-
in hydrogen.
It's all kind of set up. It's really kind of neat. And it's a lot, if a completed section is really fun, interesting to look at because there's a lot of tubing in it.
Yeah, no, if you
you
look
look at it
behind the
and you go,
scenes,
"Yikes."
yeah, it's got.
So yeah, so you have those. So you can, we make a variety of different things. These are all pretty much custom made. You could buy them online store. We've got some of the basic ones we show there in the online store. We've got, this is a valve section.
Oh yes.
So this has up to, so if you wanted to do like a helium section, you want to have 5 outlets, not just 1 or 2. You'd have a little jumper that goes into this box.
And then a bunch of tubes.
Yeah,
in
a
the
lot of
background.
tubes in the back and valves and things like that. And then an overlay, I think I got that lined up right, probably not. No. Oh, there it is, yeah, because it's right in the inlet outlet. So, yeah, so.
And don't worry, we'll punch the holes out. Don't worry.
Yeah, we punched. Yeah. We don't sell as a kit. We actually assemble it here.
Oh, there we go. We could IKEA it up.
Oh, boy.
It's a box
no.
with directions.
They get a little complicated putting them together, but they look real sweet. So, yeah, and we use a little swage lock angle valve.
Yep,
there.
oh yeah, those guys.
Any other little things to show for this? No, that's just the
Okay,
holder
for?
for the gauge. That's
Okay.
nothing. I want to show the next graphic.
No.
Okay, that's from the online store. So you can go in the online store. You can select bottom outlet, front outlet, number of outlets, and your gases. So this shows a regulator section with a 5-valve outlet section, front outlet. So you put your
And the front inlet to the valves.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, you got to have a little jumper piece for the
little
regulator
jumper piece
section,
there,
the valve section. So that's that. And then you're going to go to the next graphic. This is a photo taken in the shop before we shipped it of a 5 section panel.
One mystery gas.
Yeah, 1 mystery gas. And, we got the NFPA labels. So, just helium, the inerts, but. Yeah, and it has a bottom outlet. You can see the swage lock fittings on the bottom.
Ah.
So
you have a table with holes in it to set it on.
Yeah, well, this will get mounted up
all right,
on the wall.
All right.
Yeah, so that's that. Okay, I cut back to the camera. Now, last question. I think we got time for this.
Yeah, we got time.
We're gonna run a little long
This one's
today.
This one's not too bad.
Run a little long today. That's okay. Just hold it in. So. Customer, he actually had had hydrogen coming out of a proton exchange membrane, so he had like a little hydrogen generator type setup in his
Run
lab.
the flux capacitor.
Yeah, yes, setting up his flux capacitor, he needs some banana peels.
Photon.
No, he's asking if we can offer tube fittings on the 450B. You want to hold up 450B? That's a purifier, and or the 64-1000.
So this one, the 64-1000, is to take oxygen out of hydrogen. And the way it does take oxygen out of hydrogen is there's a catalyst in here, and it bonds the oxygen to the hydrogen, which H2 plus O equals moisture. Not water, it was moisture.
Water, moisture.
So it's a catalyst in here, and it will work indefinitely.
Unless you have running really...
Unless you're running really dirty gas.
Yeah, you're running stuff with the oils in it and stuff like that.
Yeah. So clean gas little, and then you want to get rid of the moisture. So you're fixing a problem and creating another, and so we sell this one to remove the moisture from the stream. And the customer's asking if we would put different ends on here. And when I first heard that, I had assumed that somewhere along the line somebody asked for this to happen. because we just have 1/4-inch FNPTs on both of these, and pretty much most of our fittings go into, on our regulators and stuff. It's all 1/4-inch FNPTs we're connecting to, and nothing in our system. Nobody's ever asked us to attach a fitting, and honestly,
we've been selling these
hurts
for
a little bit. It hurts.
Probably longer than Corey's been alive.
So yes, we can add fittings to them.
So, yeah, this got magic beads in it, catalyst.
Catalyst.
This has a cartridge.
I used the technical term catalyst, not magic beads.
I like magic beads.
I mean, they are catalysts. Sort of
it won't work for pneumonia. So, okay, so this is a...
Oh yeah, I got to talk about the other filters in this one.
Yeah, this is a high pressure thing. So you get different filter cartridges you put in there.
Yeah.
And you got a top.
Got one for moisture, one for gas, and one for particulates.
For gas.
Oh, gas, oil. I was thinking hydrocarbon.
Hydrocarbon.
And I was thinking gasoline.
Yeah,
and I was
okay.
like, yeah.
Yeah, you got moisture, and hydrocarbons, and you got a filter. And this is high pressure. This will go a couple thousand PSI.
Now, we just want to add, not all of our filters, some of them come, with fittings already welded on, like this one is our 61, 87.
Yeah, you want to pop little caps off there.
So it comes with some swage lock fittings on it.
Yeah, so this sometimes people want them.
Compression fittings might not be branded swage lock. Oh, it is.
They are branded swage lock.
Yeah, they are branded swage lock.
So some people like to have it, like, not pipe thread in there, welded in there.
Yeah.
And we don't offer that for these, but for the 6187, which is I believe it's a 0.2 micron filter.
And there's a few other different ones.
So their swage lock is welded on there. We also sell pipe thread on that too. So yeah, so some come with a welded fitting, some don't.
Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Younger people wouldn't understand that one, but that's
that's got to still be a thing, right?
Yeah, I said that. Some people are giving me an odd look.
You hang out with the wrong people.
I guess so. So that's really all the questions we're going to cover this week. We ran a little bit long this week. That's fine.
That's okay. But first time back in a while, both of us together.
Yeah, it's good. And I think we're going to do probably
leftovers.
We got a couple questions.
We do have another question left over from this show, so it will legitimately.
And there's another one that came in kind of on a Wednesday, which is
our deadline date.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a leftover show. So check out our podcast, and of course, go to the online store, store.mathesongas.com.
Yeah, check out the regulators.
Get more information on it. You want to buy stuff.
Yeah, that too. Not just watch us.
And remember, work to make that pressure regulators for a regular person viral. Watch out, Taylor Swift, and
make
all those
TikTok videos of you watching it. When we want reaction videos from people.
We'll do a little dance or something, interpretive dance to the video. That's just way too much today.
All right.
So tune in again next week for another live edition of the Bill and Corey Show.
Set your VCRs.